I've hated reamping for so long.
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Here, take 2 of these.
Ah,
Undertone.
little, yellow, different.
I've been searching for the perfect guitar DI and reamping solution for a long time. And I've made videos of others that I've liked that have sort of been incrementally good or better along the way. And I finally got to the point where I feel like that's it. It's perfect. The perfect guitar DI. It is the GB Tracker from Undertone Audio. I bought this without hearing it. You know, it's one of those things that you have to hear it yourself. I suppose if I didn't like it, I could send it back. But I bought it without hearing it because this is the baby of Eric Valentine, one of my favorite producers, engineers, mixers of all time. He owns Undertone Audio. So Eric has done these super amazing, badass records. He produces them, engineers them, mixes them, and often masters them as well. So he's got amazing ears. So when he said this is perfect, I was like, I gotta check this out. On the DI side of things, it's Class A with a 1 mega ohm input. That, as I'm told, is what's really common in guitar amps. And it does sound super transparent. It's a JFET input. It just sounds super clean. It doesn't sound like anything, really, and that's what I'm looking for. There are other clean DIs, and you may have a DI you love. Cool. I'm all for that. What's super cool about this is it has stepped gain inputs, so it switches, which makes it perfectly recallable, which is quite nice. So then that DI comes out and goes to your DAW, your interface, right? Then you could get a very consistent and realistic sound with all of your amp plugins or amp sims. So that direct signal will also route out of the send to the amp. So now I get my guitar signal tracked to DI, and I get the sound going to my amp at the same time. I could track that as well. And it sounds exactly the same, because as I add gain here, there's another stepped gain in the inverse. So that lowers the gain coming out. So you just match them. You know, like if you're gonna go plus 18 and then you go minus 18, it sounds the same to me. It's completely transparent. As I played, I was like, yeah, I hear a difference. And then I'd play back an A-B real quick, and there's no difference. I can't hear it. So then if I want to reamp, I come from my interface, I go back into the GB Tracker, I switch this over to DAW, so it's receiving input from my DAW rather than the guitar input, and then that goes to my amp. I'm plugged directly from guitar cable to the Friedman head, and what we're going to hear is the SM57 on the 412 cab. So this is as straight wire as I could do, one mic, clean. Now I've got the guitar going to the GB Tracker, which is taking the DI into the computer, but I'm also passing through to the amp. I'm going straight to the amp. Now I switched over to DAW input on the GB Tracker. So I'm sending from my DAW that DI signal, and that's going from the GB Tracker into the amp. And that's easy to get. Those were at +6. I just set this to plus and minus 23 dB. So it's going up 23 dB and down 23 dB transparent. I want to see if it comes out as transparent as opposed to just up 6 and down 6. So now I'm going to shuffle these up, and so hopefully that it'll sound sort of like one take, but it's going to be different versions of it. It'll be the reamped, it'll be me direct into the guitar, and then me going through the GB Tracker. As you can see, I'm set up right next to the guitar amp. But let's say you're set up like my old setup, which had a room that was, across the studio, or you have like that Tim Pierce setup where it's like, God knows where his amp speaker bunker is. Then the GB Tracker has a little buddy. This is the satellite component. This is sold separately. So you buy the GB Tracker. I really just need the GB Tracker because I'm right next to it, but I am considering this in case I want to throw an amp like way far away. So you get a balanced XLR cable, and that would hit this. This doesn't even have power, but you could run a long XLR cable, which if you just run a long guitar cable, you'll start to hear like the high end roll off, and it's a bit of a bummer. Like I have experienced that before, and it's a drag. So if you're trying to get your signal a really long distance, this is perfect. XLR out to this, and you just send this guy over next to your amp, and then you have that output gain control here as well. So what's cool is if you want to run multiple amps, you could daisy chain the satellites, and then you'll have this really clean, transparent way of splitting the guitar signal. That is the GB Tracker from Undertone Audio, the perfect guitar reamping DI solution. It's not the cheapest one, comes in at $895. Finally though, I am satisfied where I am not fighting the guitar input, and I'm not fighting the guitar level differences from when I plug into the head versus when I'm going a DI and then reamping, and then the gains are different. I've hated reamping for so long, and this totally changed my whole view on that. Thanks for watching. See you later.